Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are the World Boys, here to talk about South Park. We are, you might say, your pandemic specialists.
Yeah.
I have, for those of you unfamiliar, this is the former AfterBuzz TV South Park crew, Sans Heidi, aka Steph Sabra. But I do have Christian Blatt.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Well, you are home, so.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And then formerly Tony B. Tony from the booth is now Tony B. Tony in his room.
Yup. I'm in my room and I'm here for you guys. Hello. Welcome to the show. Can't wait to talk all things South
I have
Park.
to say that it's so good to see Tony because we all worry in these unprecedented times that he was going to live up to his former nickname and he would be Tony B. Dead. So I'm glad to see that Tony be live because Tony B. distancing, Tony B. wearing a mask, Tony B. washing his hands, Tony B. sanitizing everything.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And just
sanitize.
To take a quick step back, if you're just joining us for the very first time, we break down the show. We used to all together. We had a lot of fun doing it. And so that's what we're going to do. We may stray a little bit here and there, especially in these unprecedented times. I noticed that you guys don't have your chin strap diapers on, but, I guess I'll take mine off. But that's okay. So I guess we should start with the most obvious question. Did we need a pandemic special?
Yes, we did. I say yes. Any content's great. Any content right now is good. You know, we're thirsty. As an avid content devourer, I need new things. It's not enough that I have thousands and thousands of movies that I haven't watched on Netflix. Okay, I need some prime A real estate, as in when it comes to content. I don't know. That's how I feel.
Nice. Christian?
I think that we as a society needed a pandemic special, but I know me personally, it was nice to hang out again with the gang, with the whole South Park crew. And I think that we are in unprecedented times. And I think if you don't do a pandemic special, you're missing a tremendous opportunity. And I mean, I think it was a great occasion for Trey and Matt to do the first hour-long episode of the show that there's ever been, you know? And I mean, yeah, there's been 2 parts and multi-part episodes, but actual just, airing straight through, this was it. And I think that they did not disappoint in terms of getting in the kind of perfect commentary on everything that's going on right now and just what the proverbial shit show is.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, a couple of things, right? Number one, it came at a perfect time. I don't know about you guys, but I literally felt hungover from last night's presidential debate. And not literally from alcohol, but just the actual thing itself. And so this like brought that levity. And I'm really glad. And like the way they did it, I mean, they have on like South Park's Instagram, they have a whole like 2-minute video or something like that of how they put this all together. Because everyone was like quarantined themselves. So for them to put this together, and it's not like they normally do it where, 6 days and so forth. So there was a lot of forethought going into it, which can be scary in these unprecedented times because then you might not be relevant. But I thought everything hit quite perfectly, and so excuse me, I'm very happy that they did do it. We lost Christian apparently.
Oh no, we went to Hollywood apparently.
Yeah, well, look, I want you guys to just remember who I am and what I represent, and the fact that I'm donating my time. Just remember where I could be if I weren't here. But yeah, no, I really thought that behind the scenes video was very interesting, and I thought it was really cool to kind of see all of that, everything that they had to do to just get the show done, and just you got to look at the expenditure. They had all those kits and all the computers they sent to everybody. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely the dedication. I mean, an animated show, it is pretty easy to do remote like that. So, I mean, they could they could do hundreds of episodes like this if they were so inclined. But they'll probably just do like 9 more before the end of the year, or maybe even 8 because this counts as 2. But I don't know. I think it was. There's no reason not to do it. You know what I mean? It's not like a lot of shows, live action shows. If you're going to do it over Zoom, I mean, look, that's cute for 1 or maybe 2 weeks, but South Park, it literally didn't look any different. In fact, like it actually, some of the animation looked flashier than usual. Some of like the camera movements and stuff, it was like fancier than we usually get.
It was a special.
It was a special.
And I should warn everyone. Too. We're
go for it.
As we get into this, I'm just going to forewarn everyone. Obviously, it's a deep, dark, unprecedented time. But as we go into it, all that's going to go by the wayside, and every joke is on the table. So don't take anything too serious. But go ahead. You had something to say, Tony. I cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, I was just watching. Like I'm surprised. I didn't watch that 2-minute video. I guess I should have, but now I'm surprised it sounded as good as it did, because usually I was watching the new episode of Bob's Burgers that premiered on Sunday yesterday, and you could hear the difference in Bob's voice through like what audio equipment they were using. So I was actually pretty shocked now to hear that they were doing everything remotely, and they were able to like put down the money for that good equipment, because it didn't sound like anything was off. So kudos to them. That's awesome.
I think South Park embraces the absurd to begin with, so it's not like, I don't know. That's just my take on it. Which character did you relate to most? I'm kind of curious. I think that gives a nice barometer of things. I would say I'm Stan, where I'm worried about other people, but deep down, as he said, it is about me.
I'm definitely Cartman. I would love to just never go back outside. I've been out in the real world, and every time I'm just like, oh, I didn't miss this. I would like to just stay here and just read these, boxes of comic books from days gone by. And I've got VHS cassettes of the original Star Wars trilogy before they did all that fancy stuff. I can just live down here. Yeah. But I can definitely relate to what some other characters were going for, but I think Cartman has always been my spirit animal.
Nice. Tony?
Yeah, it was very. I went through waves. I went through different like stages of the of characters, I guess to say. At first I was very, very nihilistic. I was very like into the COVID shutdown, where I was like indulging on a lot of bad habits. So I guess you could say I was kind of like Cartman at first, not wanting to go out. My work shut down, and I was like, yeah, let's do this, And then afterwards, I fell into a very, I guess, like depressive state. So I was more like Stan, and now I would say I'm more like Kyle. I'm just kind of going about my days as normal as I can, whatever normal may be for me at least. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I'm gonna throw it to Christian. Christian, who would Steph Sabra be?
Randy.
How so?
Yeah, I mean, mostly because of the recreational habits exhibited in this episode. I mean, that is how Steph lives her life. She only cares about other people until at the moment where she realizes that her way of life is jeopardized by it. Then she needs to try and protect them. I'll tell you who she definitely would least identify with would be the police force in the episode. So, in all honesty, I've just I definitely filibustered a little bit there. I realize now who she feels like she is. Token.
Yeah.
See. Well, at least Token got a token appearance. Steph Sabra.
It's true.
Steph Sabra did not. So
no, that's true.
Maybe I can find her picture. We'll keep talking. But all right, so let's open it up with Randy, and what you guys like. Obviously, it's all. I do like the framing of it, right? It's a through line from past seasons, certainly, of Tegridy Farms, and I forget, like it's been such a, like these past whatever months, I don't even fucking know. they're like lifetimes. And so this idea that America needs integrity and so forth, it was a nice reminder of that. I felt like I was taking good member berries there.
Member, member
I remember.
outside, member
I remember.
outside, member restaurants, member
Uh,
concerts.
Oh,
oh my
So-
God.
theaters for me. Anyway.
But yeah, like all those things. And so, like the season finale and all those various things, you kind of take for granted and you got a little bit annoyed with. But I do, the whole meta of like the pandemic special. I thought it was a good mix where they still had Sharon be Sharon of like being pissed off about it, but they didn't go over the top. And maybe because it wasn't like from episode to episode and there was other stuff interspersed that I overall enjoyed it. But I thought, as far as like Randy's whole plot line, the idea that they brought back Mickey Mouse and the whole China portion of that to me was the most brilliant. And the fact that they didn't just like go with the bat and like introduced like who I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard of this fucking animal in my life before.
Well, I mean,
The pangolin?
the pangolin I'd only heard about in relation to the coronavirus because
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's true. I've never heard of it.
but before that, no, I'd never heard of it. But I'm definitely not surprised that that Mickey Mouse and Randy went on that kind of a bender. Oh, is that a picture of a pangolin? They're cuter than I thought. So I also felt like basically it was Randy at his randiest, pun intended, I guess. But just living in excess, and just the fact that Randy being Randy usually it ends up just jeopardizing the town of South Park. But it's actually the whole world because Randy fucked a couple of exotic animals. So I commend Randy and the way that he makes everything worse, just trying to make it better. I mean, this was the perfect story for Randy. And I agree, Phil, that revisiting that China episode from last season, which was brilliant, going back to it was fantastic.
Absolutely. And one of the things I did also appreciate was it almost reminded me of like Human Centipede when everyone was like, wait, you don't read the contract? And so when Mickey Mouse tells him of like, wait, you didn't quarantine after?
Yeah.
He's like, what? I've never fucked a bat before.
I know. He's like, it's October. Nobody knew anything. And I did think that was funny that, considering, look, it's not funny that Disney parks had to lay off, hundreds of thousands of people. But the fact that they told this story and it happens to have become more topical, by the time it aired is just sort of the dumb luck South Park always ends up with. So Mickey was very on brand in this episode.
Always on brand. Tony, over to you.
Oh yeah, no, that was one of my my favorite lines that I think it was Randy who says it, where he's all like, you sold your soul to the devil. You got in bed with with China, with the whole like Mulan bullshit, and like we all know how Mulan turned out and how they gave away their integrity to make more money. I just love that whole like tirade that Randy goes off on Mickey when he's on the phone with him was so on point, dude. Because just like that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what Disney did. And now I don't know, call it karma, call it luck, but it's interesting what's happening.
Should we frame it for people? Like, so Tony, Christian, I don't know if you've seen Mulan. I have not. So,
it is bad.
Okay, so you two have seen Mulan. But also, so yeah, go ahead. Speak to the movie, but then also the context, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, look, the movie's not great. I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's bad. It's just like it's a story that didn't necessarily need to be told. You didn't, because you already told it, just in a different way. I think that there's moments in it where you feel like, oh, if this was on the big screen, it would have looked beautiful, like some of the landscapes and stuff. I think ultimately they tried to tell kind of an uplifting story, but just in some ways these are very precedented times in that by going out of your way to kowtow, pun intended, to China, you manage to, go and film in a region in China where they have these concentration camps for Muslims, and that a lot of the Western world is ignoring because it's China and because of how good they are for business. So, I think that it's a way more watchable movie than Tenet, by the way, but I don't think this is the time for that.
That is we're just gonna slide over that because that is untenable.
Yeah, let's reverse on that one.
Yeah, I need to wear a fucking gas mask while I watch Tenet because I can't breathe with all the bullshit on the screen.
Okay, all right. Well, let's keep it going.
Well, Tony was supposed to talk about Mulan. I derailed the conversation. Sorry.
It's all good.
I mean,
listen, I'm just gonna keep it moving and say, speaking of Chris Nolan though, the whole inserting like the I don't know. I got Batman Begin vibes of like, all right, we got to get like this drug to people. I did get that. And then I will say, I just love. Okay, I don't know. Call me crazy, call me whatever pejorative you want, but Randy jerking it is always a good episode. Like, remember when they had no internet? And Ghost Plasma everywhere.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Knowing how much this guy can jerk off, when they showed that shot of all the shit he had to jerk off to, which, by the way, then with his little booth, I also got Asperger vibes when Cartman, he had like the fart, and all the people were trying to figure out, wait, how. It's like it's got Taco Bell, it's got McDonald's, it's got KFC. How's he infused this? It's like a gas that's infused in the burger. So I thought I thought a lot of good tiebacks as well. But
that's good.
Tony, over to you.
Dude, I mean
anything Randy.
If Randy's jerking it, I'm there, I'm there for it, The fact that he's like, I got the solution. I love this. I love how he came to that conclusion. The whole scientist saying it's like something was inserted DNA into the pangolin. I thought it was hilarious. And he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, when he's just like, well, why would anybody possibly do that? And Randy's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, look at it, it's so ugly. He's like, okay.
Yeah,
and then started like, they used rape. It's like, you guys are using rape now.
Now it's rape. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how he cared about it that much. I mean, it's just absurd, man. Oh my god.
What about so the mustaches themselves, like out of all like the side effects and like the whole thing, that to me it was just brilliant. Like it's just it's the right level of absurd, but also like sending a point that I thought was brilliant, especially because by the end Sharon, who's on her high horse of like, I don't smoke weed. You got some shit on your face, Sharon.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. It was a great way to end. And usually Randy's the buffoon and Sharon just tolerates him. But it was nice to see that she's a bit of a hypocrite, which I think that there's a lot of that kind of throughout the episode, because you have sort of the differing. There's a lot of different ways that people feel, like when Cartman goes to Kyle's house, he's like, no, you have to talk to me outside. And what are you doing? You're in my house now, talking about the germs and everything. And, I think that people can be very hypocritical when it comes to those things. You'll see people's social media posts that will literally say things like, all caps, period after each word, stay the fuck home. And I'm like, hey, didn't you go to the beach last weekend? And it's fine if you want to go to the beach. Just saying, don't tell other people what to do. Anyway. Absolutely.
Here's a question for you guys, right? And I had it at the tip of my tongue. Shit, I lost it. Oh no. No, okay.
So is that?
No, okay, so I got it. At the beginning, this whole thing opens up, and like, he's obviously his profits are skyrocketing. Hence, that's what kicks it off. He's making fun of all the small business owners, Shitty Pot Town and Soda Soap Pa and all that. I'm just maybe there's not much to read into this, but are they kind of commenting on, let's say, like Bezos and all those people like that have profited off the pandemic? Just curious. Could be a no.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tony.
I mean, I would say that's a good read, man. I gotta say, I mean, I haven't looked into like weed consumption or like when it comes to just weed itself, right? I mean, that's what I predict.
Tony, you should look into it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm sure it's skyrocketed for sure. I mean, my consumption skyrocketed at a point where I was just fucking living in a haze for a while.
I mean,
at the start of
Steph's consumption is so high, she's not even here tonight. So
yeah, exactly. We couldn't bring her down as much as we tried. Yeah.
No, and look, it's the kind of commentary that you always get out of South Park, which, I mean, look, is anybody on the planet higher than a woman who would dress like that? So the fact is that, they're commenting on just sort of the reality of who's doing well in the pandemic. Amazon, Target, Walmart, who's not? Smaller independent businesses that weren't able to open. All those places were open, especially Amazon, because you don't have a brick and mortar facility to open. You just have a warehouse where if basically the Amazon warehouse is kind of like the Build-A-Bear. If one of your employees test positive for COVID, you just stuff them in the do-over machine, and hopefully you get a new employee out the other end that you don't have to worry about. So, and I mean, it was very unfair that, smaller businesses were not able to open who maybe sold a lot of the things. Now, if you're super freaked out and worried about germs, to just have to go to one place, to just go to Walmart to literally buy everything because they have grocery stores too. I mean, it's crazy to think back on March and April versus, it's going to be October in like an hour and a half. And, just the idea now is just like, oh, I'm just going to go and do all the things I want to do, and I'll just wear a mask while I do it. And even if it doesn't help, I'll feel better about it,
Yeah. It was, in some sense, a nice reminder of when they had like the looting of the stores for toilet paper and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. All right, so let's move on to Stan, tangentially related, because I think, Christian, you made that correlation of like the various emotions, and certainly, very subtly, the whole notion of Randy being like, I'm not strong like you, Sharon, I think, is a nice, like father, like son moment, because Stan ultimately was not that strong. And yeah, I thought this was the heart of the episode. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stan is always the heart of the series, in all honesty. So it was appropriate. And I like that, again, you want to talk about things that are on brand. It's Stan going to such great lengths to try and make Butters happy. They want him to have a good day. But it's really just because Stan just wants to feel normal. And I mean, realistically, I can definitely relate to that. I mean, people who know me know I have two kids. I have a 5-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. And it's just the idea of if you can make things a little bit more normal for them, in turn, it makes things more normal for you. And it's just like, if you could take them to like let them run around and play in a playground with their friends, you just know how much happier they would be than they are crammed inside with you. So yeah, I mean, I can relate to it as an adult, but especially because I have kids. I mean, I know that these are pretend kids that are 27 years older than when they started, in theory, but 23 years older than when they started. So technically they're all like 33, 34. But whatever the case, I think that having that as the heart of the show, it speaks to, I think, the heart of us as Americans, but as really a society in general. It's like, yeah, we get it. I mean, even people who do believe, the science of it and all the warnings of it, you just would like to be able to do something normal. And if it's like, if you want me to wear a mask, sure, that's fine. But can I just do like one of the things I like to do?
Tony?
I mean, yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I know I'm kind of like on the outlier in a sense, because after a certain point, I was required to go back to work, and I'm able to live some sort of normalcy when it comes to that. But I know there was a point where I was fucking losing it, dude, during the initial shutdown, where
And
I
for
was just
clarity,
like,
like your work is like normal work, like you're going to work, not like
yeah,
sitting
well,
in garage work.
no, right, yeah, I'm actually like, as in, I go out I'm actually a driving instructor, right? So like, I was shut in quarantine and I was stuck with my family, and it got tough after a while, right? I could only smoke so much or drink so much, and I was going down in bad habits, really bad habits. Luckily, my job picks me back up. I was able to get back out of the house. On top of that, I'm a driving instructor, so like I would talk to 3 different like students, which are like teenagers every day. And granted, I only mess with about 15 kids every week, so it's not that much exposure. But nonetheless, I was able to get out of my house, to do something and make money, and to talk to people who weren't just my family that I was been quarantining with. But I gotta say, there was a point where I felt I hit like a really depressive state from being quarantined, and I felt that urge to just, like, I would have that thought, like, oh yeah, I could just go to the store. Like, I needed a deodorant at one point, and I was like, oh, I'll just go to the store and buy it. I was like, wait, no, I can't just do that. I have to mask up. I have to take my hand sanitizer, maybe even take gloves. And I was just like, the slow kind of like drilling of like, this is normal now. This is reality. You have to adapt. Was so interesting to go through, man. It was rough at first, but again, I feel like I'm lucky in that sense, where I was able to kind of bring myself out of that state and find some sort of normalcy, but still, be cautious about it all.
I mean, I could definitely relate to it a little bit, Tony, because for my job, a few times, only 3 times in the last 6 months, I've had to go into the studio that I used to go into. Usually I do it from home, and we had to do a show from my boss's house, which meant driving up to Montecito and going into his house, and he was fine with it. He wasn't worried about, me bringing anything into the house or whatever. But it's like, it's weird, but the more that you do it, the easier it is and the more it feels normal. I mean, I was always the one for all these months that I was the one to go do all the grocery shopping. And my wife usually works. She's a TV writer, so she's on Zoom all day. And I was the one going. I was, doing all the errands. And, when you did go out into the world, when they were doing curbside pickup and at restaurants, I would do all that. So to the extent that I was out interacting in the world. So by the time that it got to be like May, June, my wife was still kind of in the mid-March mentality because she wasn't getting out. And I'm like, no, you don't really need to wear the gloves. You don't have to wash your groceries after you buy them. That was a thing that they wanted to do, but they kind of don't think you need to do it anymore. And it's like, I've seen a lot of people, and in general, they're a lot more laid back than they were. And, she had the misfortune of going into a grocery store kind of like that first weekend, and the milk was gone. The eggs were gone. There was no bread, and it was just like, and it was crazy. I mean, people weren't running around crazy. It was just crazy to look at, like, wait, everything's gone. And I'm like, it's not like that anymore. So, people who aren't getting out to bring everything down, I think that there's going to be very long-term problems for them reintegrating into society. And I'm just talking about after President Trump gets us our vaccine before Election Day. So we're about a month away from a vaccine. We're all going to get it. I assume you all know that from the news. We're all going to have it. Everybody's going to have it. I've got one right now, but I don't feel like it's fair for me to use it until you guys can get it. So we'll all do but no, in all seriousness, when there is a vaccine, I think there are going to be people that are still going to be like, oh yeah, but I'm not going to go outside. No, we don't do that. No, I can't order from Grubhub or DoorDash. I don't know where those drivers are. Okay, well then you want me to pick it up at the restaurant? No, those are restaurant people who work there. So I think that this is like psychologically, not just for our kids, just as a society, it's going to be a while before people are comfortable with not even just normal, but just everyday stuff,
Yeah, and I think that speaks to the point. I think the negative effect of all of this is like obviously we're trying to prevent disease and death in a large sense, but it's like what is the right choice? Because ultimately, isolation and all the other things of like domestic violence and things of that nature, that escalates too. So it's like it's a very fine balancing act. And I think this touches upon that. I think you're absolutely right. And in a large sense, like we do project, what I appreciate about Butters is at least he wears his heart on his sleeve. He just wants to go to fucking Build-A-Bear. But Stan, like, hey, Stan, I get it. It's noble that you want to help your friend, but, how do you feel? No, I'm fine. I'm strong. I'm fine. What do you, no, but Butters, Speaking of the new normal, this was the perfect juxtaposition for me in the, and we'll talk about the new teachers. We will, I promise. But in the the basketball court, when in a tit for tat like of what the new normal is, Stan versus Cartman of like, wait, what new normal are you fucking talking about? I'm talking about the new normal from 3 days ago. No, I'm talking about the new normal from March. I don't like. I thought this was such a perfect Cartman episode, and even the switch of him at the end, just I don't know, call it like getting a heart, where he just doesn't throw it into the do-over machine. I thought that was brilliant.
I think it was a nice touch. And by the way, I would love to go to Build-A-Bear too. I haven't built a bear in a long time, and it would probably feel pretty good.
Tony didn't know you could build a panda bear.
Yeah, dude. I really want to go now.
Yeah. I mean, but,
that part where Cartman ends up not doing it. It just I love that. I love that whole scene with also Stan breaking down and crying, because I'm sure there's people who feel exactly that same way, and I feel like even if there are Cartmans out there, if they saw their own Stans crying and breaking down, they would also not kill the thing that Randy fucked.
Pangolin.
Yeah, they would also not
by the
kill
way,
the
I
pangolin.
hope Build-A-Bear has a pangolin that I can build a pangolin at some point.
That'd be really great marketing. Yeah. No, it was a really sweet moment. I think that was like you guys said, that was like the heart of the episode. I was like, the fact that they changed, like, Cartman acted the way he did. I was like, whoa, like, what do you think that means? That he cared so much about his friend Stan and what he's going through, that he was willing to give up that new normal for himself?
I wouldn't read that.
I think that they say that Eric Cartman's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
No, I mean, I think in some sense, right? Cartman is almost like that meme of introverts, of like we're initially it was like, we've been preparing this all our lives.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so I think it kind of represents that side of it. And I by the way, very underrated because it was such a long episode, but I think the opening song of social distancing and him with the 6-foot pole, even against his mom, you know what I mean? Like, of all people, you quarantine with the people that you're with, but like even his mom, stay back. I thought it was such a Cartman thing to do, and I don't know. I that's a great point, Christian. I think his heart did actually grow by 3 times that day.
I agree.
All right, let's talk about the new teachers at the school, and I'm going to mute you all if you guys don't behave. I love Mr.
Oh, so Phil's going to defund Tony and I if we get out of line.
Absolutely.
Apparently. All right. I get out of line.
What I appreciate about South Park for everything that it is, it holds nothing back, and it doesn't. As much as people like to say like, oh, South Park is a very liberal show, or like South Park is a very conservative show, like, no, like South Park just shits on everything. And the fact that they like just took the cops and did this with them, where they like they had no other option, And as he says, of like, clearly not our fault, through no fault of our own, they end up as teachers. They don't know how to teach math. And also underscoring the fact that teachers are in fact underfunded, I thought was brilliant. But then, obviously, two major moments as far as I'm concerned. Token's death due to COVID complications.
COVID-related shooting, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought that was like the layers in just that comment alone are so brilliant. And then, of course, them getting their funding back. So I don't know. There's no really question there.
Yeah, a song that is overused, but probably the best use of Motley Crue's "Kickstart Your Heart." To have them, barreling through Main Street in South Park with those tanks and everything was fantastic. And yeah, look, it's what you said, Phil. They leave no stone unturned when it comes to really just slaughtering sacred cows. And literally the fact that the cops were so focused to make sure that they shot Token, and they made it very clear that they're like, yes, got him. Because it wasn't an accident. They wanted you to know it wasn't an accident, because that's one way you could have, that kind of an easy way out of the joke. So yeah, I thought that the fact that they addressed it at all, I think was very powerful, because look, it raises the question of, okay, you do want, it's like, if you do want to defund a police force, who's going to take care of things when they're in trouble? And there are answers for that, but you need to answer them. And I think getting the well-established police force on this show, like if this was season 2 and we only had Officer Barbrady, it wouldn't be as great as having all these cops that we dealt with so much in recent seasons. And I don't know. I mean, I think that I for the first time, I really wish Steph was here, because I wonder if she was able to laugh at this part of it. I think she was, but I think we all know how serious the real issues are. But she looks almost human there. But the simple fact is that by highlighting it and making a joke about how focused they were on shooting Token, you're making a really serious, important statement. And as funny as the show is, it'll always make sure that you're thinking about what's really going on.
Well, before I get to you, Tony, because I can't keep a thought in my head. It also spoke to the idea of school shootings, right? So like in the past, they've done that, and like they've, the whole joke was they've normalized school shootings. So in that sense, that was very prevalent, at least in my mind, when I saw that as well, of like, oh, of course the cops are back, and like now it's to the next level that they're creating the school shootings. And there's I forget what season exactly it is, but there's the notion of like your kids aren't safe type of thing, and it's caused basically by like predators and so forth. And Christian, kind of refresh my memory, if you will, if you remember this, where it got so bad that the kids couldn't trust their own parents to kill them, right? So like the whole idea of like murder hits home type of thing, and like now the kids are, like school is supposed to be the safe space, and now the cops are there. They're the ones causing the school shootings. So it just those things came to my mind of like, yeah, you're not safe even in the safest of space.
Well, I did like that when the kids got quarantined, they kept them at the school for 2 weeks. I thought that was actually really funny that they did it that way. So,
due to COVID-related
shooting, yes.
Right, but go ahead, Tony. I took the floor from you.
No, it's all good. Listen, I mean, you guys, I think said it more eloquently than I could put it. But I gotta say they went for the fucking jugular. Like they didn't hold anything back. I love that it's Cartman and Kyle disturbing the class, right? And then all bullets go straight to Token, and you're just like, and then he gets it in the arm, you're just like, oh my god, they just went there. And then on top of that, once they get the funding for everything, they have the kid, like they have that one kid who's playing in the park, and then he's like, you're in violation of COVID related, like whatever, and then they end up just lighting him up like no other. Like that's just like it was brutal to watch, but also that's the reason why this show is so great. As they're so I want to say objective to the reality of our society. Like they hold up the best mirror, or a great mirror, not the best, but a great mirror to what's going on in real life. And when you see what you see in this episode, when it comes to the cops, it's funny, but then like after the laughter, you're kind of like, a little teardrop, like of the harsh reality of the situation. But I think if anyone was gonna do it, I'd rather it be like this show doing it the way they did it. I think it was. I don't know. I'm not sure if I can say it was tasteful, but it was. I tasted something. I tasted something. Yeah, it was rough, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about stray observations and things like that. I mean, I guess stray observations / favorite jokes in that sense. And one of the things we haven't talked about, so I'll kind of open it up as far as my stray observation, Mr. Garrison. So I love the callback of Mr. Slave. And for a moment, I knew that the boys were going to call Garrison, but for a moment I thought, wait, are we going to get a Mr. Slave somehow in here? Because, I mean, it's the pandemic special, of course, so, like, you expect the best. We did not. But we did get Mr. Garrison, and for my money's worth, utilized to perfection as far as like I made a promise to kill Mexicans, and that's what I'm doing. And then by the end, the fact that they correlated the fires along with him continuing COVID, that to me is a pun intended, I guess, firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great because of they had him at the end with don't forget to vote, everybody, and that was literally the end. And yeah, it's like literally just setting the world on fire, literally. Yeah, I think it was great to have him. In terms of just other stray observations, the fact that we got so many things that I think included in this story, that it wasn't just a COVID story, that it had the fires, it had Trump / Mr. Garrison. It dealt with the reopening of schools. I know that is COVID related, but there was so many things in there. There was a line early in the episode that actually made me laugh, which is when Mickey Mouse is fielding calls. And he's like, well, if nobody's going, just fucking sell Epcot.
Yeah. You can sell it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this one, I mean, I don't really got much to say right now. Go for it, Phil.
Let's see.
Somebody clearly enjoyed a little too much pandemic special before we started.
I think so. I kind of blanked. I'm not gonna lie. I fucking blanked. I forgot what we're talking about.
Well, here's the problem. We have
the Garrison stuff, right?
Yeah.
Listen, Tony. He said. Randy said, "A drug is a drug, no matter how drug is a drug." So yeah. I did love Timmy breaking open the school. I thought that was amazing.
That was great.
I'm trying to think, and also like even I thought like the little all the various people throughout, right? Especially like with the Zoom, even though we got a short amount of it, I thought everyone showcased various different personalities, and including Kenny's mom, of like, okay, rednecks versus like people that are just hyper vigilant about wearing masks versus not, and the idea of like Red Robin's closing down, and then of course Applebee's where he cries, and the Grim Reaper just kind of threw out on his little tricycle like Jigsaw or something like that. I thought it was a great touch.
I did like the Zoom sequences where the parents are all yelling at each other, because while I haven't been on too many Zooms with a lot of parents, you realize pretty quickly that everyone evaluates their social media, and it's like I can't even post when I got a haircut. And look, my kids are actually back in school, like physically going to school, and it is very spacious, socially distant. Sort of, my daughter's at a new school. It's this gigantic classroom that's like the size of my actual like entire elementary school. I might be exaggerating, and I'm just like, I am not posting this on social media. I don't need people telling me. Like, it was hard enough to come around and feel like it was the best thing to do for our family. And it's just, it's, I don't know what people think of 2020 as, but it's definitely the year of the Karen, because we're a whole country full of Karens. And we are so proud to be Karens. I feel like if out of nowhere some woman named Karen, who is obviously very white, possibly from Missouri, all of a sudden said, well, I'm running for president, she would win in a landslide, because it's like, oh yeah, that's us. She speaks to us. So that scene was very telling, because you have all of people's different philosophies for what you should be doing. And this is what I said earlier. It doesn't always reflect what they do, what they want to tell everybody else they should be doing.
Yeah. Tony, anything to add before I close this out?
No, I mean, yeah, it's another great reflection right there of all the ideologies that are going into how to go about, adapting to COVID and everything. And it's just no, I mean, that's about it. That's all I got to say. It's a great point. I didn't realize that, but yeah, that's some good shit right there.
Sure. So I don't know, I think for me, in all seriousness, like, listen, I'm not the end all be all by any stretch of the imagination. I think we live in a different time. Like, I think how I would have approached, we do live in a very unprecedented time.
Unprecedented times. Thank you, Tony.
The most unprecedented.
Of course, the most unprecedented times. And I think, how I would have handled the pandemic back in March is vastly different than how I would handle it now. I don't know, maybe call it like, jaded or, over it type of thing. But I think, life has to kind of continue, but carefully, right? So that's kind of my stance on things overall. It's interesting when you talk about a Karen, that just something that I thought of, like, anytime I see a girl on like a dating app that's named Karen, I'm like, I'm sorry, you could be the hottest girl ever. I'm sorry, you're getting swiped left.
Oh yeah, that name is ruined. It's ruined for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to any hot Karens out there. Listen, change, like, legally. If we want to date, change your name legally, and I'm in. But like, as a Karen, I can't do it. Me personally, maybe Tony, maybe.
Yeah, if your name is Karen, legally change it to Pangolin.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or go by Ren.
Kylo.
Since we're in this pandemic special, I don't know. Why don't, obviously give your social media plugs, but if you also want to kind of just give a quick update on things you're doing, by all means. I don't care. Whatever. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Go fuck yourself, everybody. But if you want to fuck yourself while you watch what I'm up to, I'm, as always, on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. And I have my own YouTube channel for my personal podcast, The Blackcast. BLADTCAST, and you will see some very familiar programming on there that looks suspiciously like shows that I was involved with on AfterBuzz and Popcorn Talk before the long gestating hiatus began. And you can find
BC.
You can, yeah.
Wait. Did you watch the? Sorry to cut you off. Did you, in the commercials? Did you get a commercial that said BC, meaning before COVID?
I don't know that I saw that. No.
I love that commercials are adapting that BC, before COVID.
Before COVID,
yeah.
I have. We continue. We did a special Trump report last night after the presidential debate, because obviously after sitting through it, all people wanted to do was spend another hour talking about it with us. And I do tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. You'll find Marvel Movie Talk, which is very similar to something called Marvel Movie News. So you can find those all on the Blackcast YouTube channel, BLADTCAST.
Yes, indeed. Tony, what's going on?
Nothing. It's funny. I actually had to look up what my social media handle is. Well, I mean,
that's because you've changed it 12 times during COVID.
Because he's Tony B. Driving.
I mean, that's my day job. If you need any driving lessons, I got you. Once those kids grow up.
Only on the West Coast.
Only on the West Coast. Yes.
Terms and conditions.
Intervine.
Remember FDIC.
Yep. You can find me on Instagram at Tony B Tony. I'm actually gonna start. I'm planning on streaming horror video games every Tuesday and Thursday nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm starting off tomorrow, and I'm gonna play it probably throughout all of October. It's gonna be Alien Isolation. So I'm gonna watch Alien the movie just on my own because I don't know how to set that up with people. And then I'm gonna play the game, and you can find me on Twitch, and you'll just hear my voice, and you'll probably hear me screaming like a little bitch, because that game is pretty fucking scary. I mean, I haven't played it yet, but I hear it's pretty terrifying, so I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, my name is actually that right there on Instagram, Tony B Tony, just without the space. I think, or where. On my screen, it's right there in the bottom, the corner, so it works for me. I don't know if that's true. Either way, it's spelled.
Okay, yeah, it's okay.
Okay, whatever. Either way, I'll spell it out. It's TonyBToeknee, and then I'll post like officially I'll post on there that I'll be streaming on Twitch. No camera. I got a face made for radio. You know what I'm saying? So you can hear this nice silky smooth voice. So getting scared. Tomorrow night. So yeah, check that out if anything.
Awesome. Well, I'm at Phil Svitek. I don't know if we're ever gonna be back together as a group. Who knows? But we sure will try. If nothing else, listen. We'll see what we can do. We wish Steps Abroad the best. With new ventures. But I think like there's only one thing left to do.
Jack it where the sun always shines. He's gonna jack it. Been spreading the word and now I need to ease my mind. Jacking it home. Been planting them apple seeds and while the apples grow, I'm gonna go out jacking it in San Diego. Jacking it, jack. Spanking it, jacking it, spanking it, smack. I don't need no shirt, no, gonna take them pants right off. He's about to jack it. On such a bright day, who needs underwear or socks? Jacket, ho. Been around God's country, and there's one thing I know. There's no better place for jacking it than San Diego.